guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. I cannot believe May is already over, and welcome to my June TBR. Where has the year gone? In January, I really thought this year was going to drag and go on forever and ever, but it is going by so quickly and I can hardly believe it. So I've read quite a few books in May, but I gave myself a reasonably achievable June TBR. Even if I tend to read like, I don't know, 10 to 12, maybe even 13 books a month, I normally try and only put 6 to 8, max 10 books on my TBR, just because I don't want to set goals for myself that aren't totally achievable. For those of you who maybe haven't watched my past couple of videos, or if this is your first time here, you might not know that I am currently in the UK and hence doing a majority of reading on my Kindle. As you can see, I'm currently reading The Serpent and the Wings of Night, but I have been to Waterstones once since I have arrived and do have a couple of books. In total, I have 8 books on my TBR this month, 6 on Kindle and 2 manga, which I have physically here. And I guess I'll start with these because, you know, they're here. So the first manga I want to read this month is A Sign of Affection. This is the omnibus with volumes 1, 2, and 3. Basically, this manga is kind of like a silent voice, I guess, but not really. Where a silent voice is really angsty and, you know, is about bullying and sort of traumatic things like that. As far as I understand, this manga is just a very sweet romance. Our FMC is deaf, and our male main character, I believe, learns sign language to communicate with her, and it's just a romance story. This has been adapted to an anime recently. It actually started airing, I think, the day after I departed Japan earlier this year. I think this is just going to be quite cute and lighthearted, and I'm excited to get into this month. The second and final manga I'm going to put on my TBR this month is Darling in the Franxx volumes 1 and 2. If any of you are anime fans, you'll probably know about Darling in the Franxx. It's not a hit with everybody, but it's a hit with me. I rewatch it every single year. It is one of my favorite anime. I don't care what that says about me. But this is one of the cases where the anime came first and then the manga followed. Just a word of warning for anyone who might think to pick this up. This is for older readers, 17 plus. It has like some nudity in it. I'm just so excited for this. I love Hiro. I love 02. It's just amazing. If you haven't seen the anime or read the manga, basically this is in a dystopian setting. It's a mech suit sort of situation, so it requires a female pistol and a male stamen to operate the Franxx, which are the big mech suits. And basically the whole point of the mech suits is that they're there to defeat the Klaxors, which is like their mysterious sort of alien-y foe. But they're all like children. They're like prepubescent, and they're trained for this since they're young, and their job is to like defend the adults who live in, I'm sure it has an official name, but they live like in these domes that move around, and the Klaxosaurs are basically attracted to the energy source that the plantations, that's what they're called, use. It's about some of the groups of teenagers who operate those. In particular, it is about Hiro. He has had a lot of trouble operating the mech suits. He hasn't been able to do it until 02 comes along. She is very unusual and very powerful, and her stamens die after riding with her 3 times. But there's an emergency and Hiro has to jump in and ride with 02. The anime is so good. It's one of my favorites. I love it. All right, novels now. This is a bulk fantasy TBR this month, but what's new for me, I guess. But no, seriously, this is bulk fantasy. The first novel I want to read in June is Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson. This is an epic high fantasy. I have started this, but I'm only about 9% of the way through. I started it on my flight over to the UK, but I was just so tired I couldn't give this book the attention it deserved at the time. It was quite complex and there were a lot of characters off the bat. I know this is going to be good though. From what I've read so far, it's just so fantastically written, and I can't wait to see how the book goes this month. So I'm super, super excited to get into that. It is a long one though. I think my Kindle said it was going to take me like over 12 hours to read. I am a bit of a slow reader, but it said it was going to take me over 12 hours. I was like, oh, it's a big boy, but I'm super excited. Then I want to read The Elite by Kira Cass, which is a young adult romance book. I finished the selection recently. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I actually really loved it. And it left me on a bit of a cliffhanger, so now I definitely want to read The Elite, and this should be a nice, easy read. Then I finally want to read One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This book has been everywhere on BookTok, Bookstagram, BookTube. Like, I just see everyone talking about it all the time. I've heard really, really good things from people in my personal life as well. So I am excited to get to this. I typically go into books like blind, I'm not gonna lie to you. And from what I understand of this book, it is a modern high fantasy, and I believe it is, my friend told me it was quite did she say it was like Red Riding Hood-ish? I think that's what she might have said, and that sounded really intriguing to me. So I'm excited to read this and see what all the hype is about and report back to you guys whether I think the hype is warranted. I also really want to read Guild by Raven Kennedy. This is another one where I'm not quite sure what this book is about. I do know it's fantasy, but everyone raves about it. I have seen so many people, especially picking this up recently and only having really good things to say. I believe it's a fantasy romance. Other than that, I literally couldn't tell you the first thing about the book. I'm going in blind, but I really hope it's gonna be good. I've also had my eye on it since long before BookTube was like even on my radar. I used to see these all the time when I'd go to the bookstore or to like Big W, Target and stuff like that. And I'd always see the covers and be like, wow, they're so pretty. I think 2 years ago, I took a photo of the series on the shelf at Big W because I wanted to remember to read them one day because I just thought they looked really cool. Then I want to finally read Magician by Raymond E. Feist. So this is Raymond E. Feist. This is like a classic. What does one even say? I have not read this before, but everyone in my life, including like I think my uncle has really been encouraging me to read that book. I've only heard good things. One of my friends who's into the same sort of books I am is reading it at the moment, and she really, really likes it. She says the chapters are very, very long. I know it's a very, very long book. Since I started reading the Sort of Truth series by Terry Goodkind, I've sort of opened my eyes more to male fantasy authors. In the past, I only tended to really read things by women, I think because growing up, I read the Tomorrow When the War Began series. That was like one of my favorite series, but as I got older and read more of those books, I just always felt like the male author, I never felt like I could connect with his female characters. But since reading Sort of Truth and connecting with that series so much, it's really opened my mind to some of the amazing male high fantasy authors and epic fantasy authors out there, and it makes me want to give them a chance, whereas I might never have before. And I'm really glad that's the case, because I think you limit yourself and you miss out on things if you narrow yourself down to only reading books from one gender. So yeah, I'm super keen, and it's a classic. I've literally only heard good things about Magician, so I'm super excited to get around to that. Finally, I'm gonna take a big chance and read Shadow in the Ember by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I have a bit of a history with her books, so I really liked From Blood and Ash. I didn't mind the second book. The third book, I wasn't really sure, but I dived into the fourth book anyway, and I did not like the fourth book of the Blood and Ash series. However, many have said that the prequel books, which is what Shadow in the Ember is from, are a lot better. So I decided, you know what, I'll give it a chance and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it is as good as people say and it doesn't put me into a reading slump. Here's to hoping. But yes, those are my 8 books on my TBR this month. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope maybe it gave you some ideas. I'm sorry I was a little bit vague in places. Maybe I should prepare for these videos better in the future. But honestly, just I really go into books blind, only knowing pretty much what genre it's in and relying a lot of the time off the goodwill of others and seeing people I trust say the books are good. If you have read any of those books though, especially the ones I maybe didn't elaborate on too much, please comment down below and let me know if you've read them and what you thought of them. I would love to see a variety of opinions about any of these books. And please feel free to comment your TBR for the month of June below. I'd love to see what everyone's reading so that I can get some ideas. Alright, that's all from me. Thank you so much for your time and I hope I see you in a future video. Bye!